Welcome to the Employment Services Show podcast. My name is Rana Kodahi and I'm so excited to have my special guest, Nita Shah. Nita is the business manager of Ability Options in Mount Druitt. Now, Nita is known for driving performance as well as creating a positive workplace culture. Now, with more than 7 years experience in operational planning, project coordination, implementation and leadership in recruitment and employment services industry. Nita, I'm so excited to finally have you on this podcast because I know you've got a wealth of experience specifically in disability employment. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rana, for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm just going to get you very quickly just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've started my journey about 4.5 or 5 years ago in disability employment services as an employment consultant. I did not have any experience or knowledge in disability employment services as I am from recruitment background. Started my journey there and then made my way up as a business manager now. I've been with Ability Option for about 1.5 years, or a little bit over 1.5 years, where I currently manage a team of 16 and manage disability employment services as well as Parents Next program. Currently I'm enjoying my role.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And I mean, coming from a recruitment background, that's great transferable skill for specifically for employment services. So just for those that don't know, because I've got a lot of people listening that might not work in employment service. Let's talk about the jargon, disability employment and Parents Next. So just in a nutshell, what are they? Disability employment and Parents Next programs.
Parents Next is a program for parents who are returning to workforce when the kids under the age of 6. So this is a pre-employment program through the Department of Small Jobs and Businesses. This is a program where we prepare parents and upskill them, putting them through courses and making them ready for the next career and next journey in their life. My main specialty is in disability employment services and majority of my team is involved in disability employment services where we advocate, help and support participants with disability in gaining suitable employment. And that means creating roles for them and supporting when they are working as well as the employers in keeping the staff member employed.
Perfect. Thank you so much for explaining that for those that don't know what disability employment or Parents Next are programs. So, I mean, I know that, you might not say so yourself, but I do know that you are a great leader from what I've heard from your staff and from other people, or even your own leaders. So, what does great leadership mean to you and how do you get the most out of your team? So what are some of your tips and tricks?
To me, leadership is about feeling successful and feeling happy when my team is successful, enabling them into doing better things. And it could be reaching a milestone in their career or being successful in their personal life. To me, it's about empowering my team, of course, building their capacity as a consultant, as a leader, and supporting them. I've always been very passionate about building people's capacity and teams' capacity to do bigger and better things. And it doesn't necessarily mean bigger and better means just placing participants into employment. It also could be learning new skills throughout their career or preparing more future leaders, making them ready for the next step. And that's what leadership means to me. If I can be a coach, a mentor in guiding my team and to be ready for future. That's what leadership means to me.
That's such a brilliant answer. And I do love what you said about it's not just about help people into work, but it's also about learning new skills and preparing them to be the next leaders and coaching them through that, which exactly. I think great leaders recognize, because there are some leaders that just want to keep people down and subservient, and that's not great leadership. It's about strengthening them so they don't need you. So thanks.
Exactly. Couple of years ago, one of my senior leadership mentioned if you're a frontline manager and if you are away from work and if your team constantly needs you, that means you're not doing a great job. You're a good leader if you can step away from your office or from your team and knowing they're still able to function and they're still able to self-manage. That's what a good leader does. I think, many years ago, leadership was about managing people and micromanaging. I think now the times have changed, and it's all about trusting your team and supporting them.
That's also great insights because yes, you're so right. A few years ago, it was about, or even 10 years ago, it was about micromanaging and managing people. Now it is about coaching and leading 100%.
Yes, exactly. You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I've seen you and you're a great coach and you do take that time to coach your team. So, I mean, a lot of leaders don't. And I know it does take a lot of time out of the day, but I mean, you do dedicate some time at least once a month, once every 2 months to coach them as well. So
I think to me as a leader, and this is what I appreciate from my current senior leadership team, my general managers, our CEO at Ability Option, the biggest investment they make in us is time. It's the amount of time. So I currently receive mentoring from my general manager, and I truly appreciate the time that he gives me. And that is coaching and mentoring, and it's ongoing. And it doesn't necessarily mean discussing about work. It is also about where I see myself in the next 5 years and what is our vision at Ability Option and where do we see ourselves and setting up plans. So I do think time is the biggest investment and effort you can make in your team. And of course, you will see the return on investment that you get from your team.
That is so true, Nita. And also you as a leader, you also need people mentoring and coaching you as well. And those leaders also need that too. And time is definitely one of the best return on investments you can make. So I'm moving on to my next question, Nita.
Yeah.
What is one success story that you can think of where you or your team or even Ability Options have changed someone's life? And I know you change lives all the time, and sometimes you don't even know about it because you guys are constantly helping people. But what is one story that does stand out to you?
I wouldn't say myself. It is, of course, the team. They are in the front line dealing with everyday business and supporting people, as well as employers and the services. So I would like to talk about one of our participants. She's currently a participant with us as well at Mount Druitt. She's in her 60s and she hasn't worked in 20 years or so. My consultant named Marianne, she's currently working at Mount Druitt site, and she created a role for this participant. She contacted multiple employers, and when there was an interview, the participant, of course, she felt anxious because she did not work in 20 years. She didn't think she could go back to work, or she had what it took to be working. The role was created as an admin assistant in a brand new company or a small employer. And the participant came in feeling very anxious, and she just said she doesn't want to go for the interview. Of course, we sat down with the customer. We tried to understand what is the reason, and we found out she just doesn't think it's the right time. I think she just thought it was too late and she couldn't go back to work. And of course, we just said, we are all about choice and control. We encouraged her to still go and attend the interview. A staff member accompanied her for the interview. And we said at the end of the day, it will be your decision whether if you're successful, whether you would like to go and work, or if you think this is not the role for you, it's okay, and we'll continue to look for another role for you or create more roles for you. Of course, it's consultant who's gone above and beyond, created roles. Of course, she knew 99% that this is the role for her, but at the same time, she just wanted to ensure that we do give her the choice and control. And the participant did amazing. She ended up having the role. She was successful, and it's been 6 months now, and she could not be more happier. The employer absolutely adores her, and she's just turned that place into a very happy, positive workplace. And to me, that's what a great team does. When we are passionate about what we do, I think our results and stories like this become everyday, because we enjoy what we do.
That's a great story. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are probably listening or even new in employment services. And what you basically did, just to kind of what Nita's team did, was create a job that does not exist.
Yes.
So it's called either job creation or job carving. So they go into the workplace and they look at what what might be needed, whether it's an admin person or someone that can go in and relieve staff from doing extra duties. And that is a role that is so hard to create, and you have to be really strategic in creating that kind of role. So, I do encourage, I find a lot of employment providers, I mean, they don't really tap, do they tap into the employment carving? Or is this something, I know Des does a lot, but I've met Des teams that don't really do that. They're just calling from sick.
Us at Ability Options, we believe in job creation and job carving, job sharing.
Yeah.
ECs are equipped with all the resources, and same goes with our consultants as well. So we do believe in creating roles for our customers. If you are, and in my opinion and in my experience as well, if you are in employment services, you need to have the passion to support people with disability and creating roles for them and be advocating on behalf of them. And that's what creates a success and makes you successful. I is a great tool, but I believe creating roles is something that's going to give you better results, and there would be a job satisfaction for yourself, for the employer, and for your customer as well, of course.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I mean, so as long as everybody's happy and it's a win-win situation. So I'm going to move on to the next question, Nita. What are some myths or misconceptions about disability employment services?
It's been a couple of years now, but I do still hear stories from employers and where there's a myth that if someone has a disability, the workers' compensation can be higher, or they will have to make really big changes to accommodate to the person's need. And in my experience, I think that is the biggest misconception that employers have. And I think it is all about awareness. And we at Ability Option, we do have a lot of resources for employers. Of course, the department has lots of resources available for the employers as well. And it's all about awareness. And the mindset has been changing now. A lot of employers are really, really passionate about diversity and inclusion, and really taking proactive approach in including everyone and working with everyone. However, still there's a lot more work that needs to be done, for sure.
Yeah, so you're right. And I think diversity and inclusion is something that has been increasing in the workplace in the last few years. I mean, it's even a buzzword nowadays, diversity and inclusion. And what I notice is when employment consultants tap into the diversity and inclusion in big organizations, they will get the decision makers to listen to them and give them the time. So I think that's a point of difference a lot of disability employment providers don't realize, because some of them don't want to say that they are a disability employment provider. And I know that's a huge debate, but sometimes using that with and in regards to diversity and inclusion can really work. What has been your experience, out of curiosity, with that?
We are Ability Options. We've been known for disability employment services, very passionate about disability employment services and inclusion. We have NDIS services, accommodation, and therapy services. So we take pride in what we do. Every single one of us, we are all about our core values, which is trust, inclusion, integrity, and respect. So it is part of our core values, inclusion. We are very value-driven organization. So when it comes to our values, we don't seem to compromise. It's all about awareness, and we work with people who are ready to work with us and have the same core values and share those same vision and values as Ability Option do.
Yeah, and that is so important. I don't think enough organizations or even small businesses realize that working with people with similar values, even whether it's employers or staff, is critical to the success of the organization. So I'm going to move on to the next question. And this is the one where, we both know that in employment services, there is some resistance when it comes to marketing because, people want to go into this job and they're very altruistic. They want to help people. So what advice would you give to a new staff member who may be new and a little nervous about doing the reverse marketing? And for those people that don't know what reverse marketing is, it's basically employer prospecting.
I would give them only one recommendation: know your participant, build relationship with your participant, and that's when you pick up the phone. First, it's very important to understand what is it exactly that a customer wants to work in, how many hours they want to work, what are the industry that they prefer to work in, what are the skills and attributes that they have. Very important to identify the roles that a customer is interested in. Once you have, in my experience, once you are passionate about it, I think it becomes natural. To me, doesn't matter what script you have and how many phone calls you make. I think it's quite obvious when you are speaking to an employer, either via phone or face to face. It is your passion that will get you through. So it's about having a buy-in in what you're doing, and not giving up, because when we are accepting these roles and we are going to help people, we are becoming a voice for them, and we are saying, you know what, I'm happy to advocate for you. And advocating means, at least in disability employment services, helping them find job, helping them feeling included, and supporting them in staying in that employment. So it is about picking up phone, building those relationships, and not giving up. Just be persistent and keep going. So that would be my one and only tip.
That is brilliant advice, especially the part where you said once you become passionate, it becomes natural. And once you have a buy-in, because 100%, if you don't have a buy-in of why you're picking up the phone and the impacts you're making to that participant in front of you and their life and changing their life, just like that story that you told us about the woman that was unemployed for 20 years and finding her the right position and creating the opportunity that actually does not exist. Once you get a buy-in, everything changes. And then it's not even about the script, it's about that passion. And as you said, it does show through your face and through the way you speak, your tone to that employer.
Exactly. While we are talking about a good news story, I would like to talk about one of our other participants.
Yes, please go for it.
And her name is Cindy, and it's on our website as well. The story is published. She walked through our doors sometime around July last year or August at Liverpool, and she said she's just looking to go back into work. Our employer engagement consultant, her name is Tiffany. She, of course, she sat down with her, understood what sort of roles would she be interested, what are the things that we need to be keeping in mind. Does Cindy want to work full-time or part-time? What has she done in the past? And she went in and created a role for her in a pharmacy, just putting medications. We did enroll her in a a small little course as well to make sure that she understands what she's doing at workplace and with continued support. But it was all about just creating awareness in employers and talking about that I am working with this participant and she's very passionate about this industry or wanting to work with your organization, and how can we start and where can we start. And not every single story will, or not every single attempt will turn out to be, you won't be able to close every single deal, or I would say every single call that you make. But even if you end up with an appointment, even if you end up with more information about a role or what sort of, if there is a work experience, even that would lead them somewhere, and keep your hopes up and keep trying and not give up.
That's 100% true. And that's another great success story. So this lady wanted to work in a pharmacy and your team created this opportunity for her. That also did it exist, this job, or it did not exist?
No, the position did not exist.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people that don't work in this industry don't realize how powerful, and I mean, in sales, this is when you create a need that doesn't exist, or that person doesn't realize they have a pain. And,
exactly.
And it could be that the pain in employment services could be that a business owner is working 80-hour weeks, they've put on so much weight, they're on the verge of a heart attack, their family life is suffering, and disability employment bring in somebody for 15 to 20 hours a week to do all their admin. So that job did not exist, but that employment provider goes in and negotiate some wage subsidy, the hours, they give them post-placement support. So if anyone that's listening that is an employer or a business or a company and that are interested in these opportunities, do make sure that you reach out firstly to Nita. If you are looking, whereabouts, Ability Options is in New South Wales, right? Sydney, New South. So you've got sites, just so people know exactly where, in case there's other people listening.
We are across Sydney, so we are in North Sydney, Sydney Southwest, Greater Western Sydney, so from Katoomba, Penrith, Blacktown to Brookvale, Chatswood and Ryde, and Central Coast. So our presence is everywhere. And the amazing thing about disability employment services is you don't have to be living there to be eligible for our services. You could be living at Brookvale and can choose to be serviced from Blacktown office.
Oh wow, I didn't actually know that.
So that's the change from July 2018 that the department has come up with, that flexibility servicing, which is wonderful because there's no restriction. You can be linked with any of the offices and serviced from there.
Definitely. And also, just for those listening, employment services is all across Australia. And actually in Canada, UK, America as well. So do look into employment service providers in your area so you don't miss out as well. Okay, so Nita, my last question is, so why did you choose employment services? So what is your purpose? What's your why in this industry?
I have a very basic why. I'm very much about giving everyone equal opportunities. Rather than doing what everyone else likes. I'm very much about being fair and equal to everyone. And a couple of years ago, when I did find my way here in employment services, especially in disability employment services, the stigma that I had to go through because I was trying to work with some customers and putting them into employment, that just made me really, really passionate, and I made up my mind that I really would like to advocate for people with disability. It's just not fair that as much as there is awareness, we still have some stigma. So of course I am from recruitment background, but I think disability services is I'm passionate. I just don't have, I cannot explain why. It's just I'm very passionate about disability employment services. And I think that's what my why is. Now, of course, I do work with customers, but it's about me trying to create awareness into teams and employers and community that we work with and we are in to create awareness on what it is about and how can we best support people around us. If people at some stage goes through mental health or some sort of disability, be it a permanent long-term disability or could be a temporary, feeling mental health or going through mental health. And I just don't think we have enough awareness around how to work with people with disability and include them and be supportive of people that we work with.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I mean, there's a lot of people in the workplace who have a disability that's not disclosed. So, and anybody can have a disability one day out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Nita, we've had such a great discussion, and you've expressed so many. I mean, you said that your why is very simple, but you've been expressing your why throughout the whole conversation. So it's quite obvious your why and your passion. And I've met you, and I can see your passion for working in this industry, and you go above and beyond to really make a difference. Yeah. You're not just like a manager that just goes 9 to 5. You really do care, and you do go above and beyond. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, where is the best place to find you? Is it on LinkedIn? Is it your email? And I'll put that in the show notes.
People can get in touch with me through LinkedIn. Of course, I work with Ability Options as well, so always go through our website. And we have a customer service center as well. So employers who are wanting to work with us and are interested in understanding more about our services can get in touch with us through our customer service center as well.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for your time, Nita. It was a pleasure to have you on the Employment Services podcast, and I look forward to actually seeing you again in the flesh soon.
Thank you so much. It's always wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, Nita.
Thank you. Bye.